There's an uncomfortable truth that almost no one dares to face. If you disappear today, the world goes on. Work adjusts, people reorganize, conversations continue. And this doesn't happen because you have no value. It happens because you never learned to build it the right way. You were taught that constant effort, total availability, and good intentions would be rewarded. A convenient lie. Machiavelli already knew that the world doesn't respect those who give themselves indiscriminately. It respects those who create a cost when they are lost. Here's the statement that breaks everything. You don't become necessary by being better, kinder, or more present. You become necessary when your absence weighs more than your presence. When your withdrawal creates disruption. When access to you ceases to be guaranteed and becomes something earned. This isn't about cheap manipulation. It's politics guided by reality, not ideals. It's about understanding how human nature truly works, not how we would like it to. In this video, you'll understand the forbidden secret that transforms ordinary people into central, respected figures, untouchable by others' control. It's not charisma. It's not luck. It's strategic scarcity, cold emotional control, and real leverage. If you apply this, something changes quickly. People stop testing you and start carefully measuring your every move. The question is simple. Are you ready to stop being comfortable and become indispensable? If something inside you awakened while listening, don't ignore that feeling. This channel isn't about videos. It's about memories. Remember who you were before the fear, before the exhaustion, before the silence. Each new video here is a different reflection of your own soul, an invitation to understand what the world never taught you. The power you seek outside has always been within you. If you feel that this journey speaks to what lives silently within you, sign up now. Not to follow yet another creator, but to reconnect with something the world tried to make you forget. Because here, every word was made to heal, each reflection to awaken, and each video serves as a reminder you are not alone on the path back to yourself. Click on subscribe and turn the algorithm into a daily reminder of who you really are. He begins by saying something that hurts to admit, but liberates those who understand it early on. Almost everyone is replaceable. At work, a similar resume is enough. In relationships, someone available is enough. In friendships, someone present is enough. The world does not operate on emotional loyalty, but rather on politics guided by reality, not by ideals. Those who ignore this insist on believing that effort and good intentions guarantee permanence. They don't guarantee it. Machiavelli already warned that human interaction is governed by real human nature, not by pretty promises. If you disappear today, the system won't collapse. He adjusts, and fast. Companies replace functions, people replace presence, groups replace bonds. Not out of malice, but out of efficiency. Virtue and fortune work together. Those who understand the game survive, those who romanticize it are discarded. An appearance of virtue never holds sway for very long. The end justifies the means when the means is social survival. Denying it is convenient but expensive. He explains that the world functions more like a marketplace than a fairy tale. Supply, demand, perceived value, and replacement cost. When someone gives everything away, always without filtering, the perceived value decreases. It's simple, although few accept it. If you are predictable, you are replaceable. Decisions based on real human nature show that people don't protect what is abundant. They protect what is rare. It's not about being cruel. It's about being lucid. Machiavelli advocated precisely this, understanding how the world works before trying to change it. Those who confuse constant presence with strategic importance end up invisible. It is better to be feared than loved, because fear preserves space. Avoiding being hated keeps doors open. But being overly approachable removes quiet respect. The calculated use of force begins with strategic withdrawal, not confrontation, and those who don't learn this early on pay the price with irrelevance. He then points out a detail that almost no one notices. Empty space never stays empty for very long. When someone disappears, the system seeks equilibrium. Someone else is taking the seat. Another voice fills the silence. Another shoulder becomes a support. It's cold, but it's real. You don't build your own loyal armies by begging for permanence. They are built by creating functional dependency. When your absence has no impact, your presence was never essential. This applies to teams, relationships, friendships, and even family. Constant adaptability means understanding when to retreat in order to reposition value. An appearance of virtue without substance becomes disposable. Machiavelli never spoke of being cruel, he spoke of being necessary. A need arises when losing you costs you something, but that's where the uncomfortable question arises, paving the way for the next step. He observes that disposable people rarely realize they are begging because they do it silently. They don't ask with words, they ask with their actions. They respond instantly so as not to waste space. They accept invitations they don't want. They laugh at jokes that are offensive. They agree when their whole body wants to say no. All of this stems from the fear of disappearing, but politics guided by reality, not by ideals, shows that urgency communicates weakness. Machiavelli understood that those who act too prematurely reveal their own neediness, and need reduces value. Decisions based on real human nature show that people respect those who choose, not those who beg. When someone is always available, it conveys that they have no other options, and those who have no options don't dictate the terms. Virtue and fortune favor those who control time, not those who chase after it. This invisible plea comes at a high price. He explains that the second mistake is tolerating disrespect in the name of the company. Crossed messages, offensive jokes, constant delays, all swallowed with a tense smile. The person thinks they are being mature, but the system reads it as permission. Machiavelli already said that avoiding being hated doesn't mean accepting being trampled on. There is a huge difference between diplomacy and submission. When boundaries don't exist, the other person tests how far they can go, and it always goes a little further. The calculated use of force begins at the first imposed limit, not with long speeches, but with the removal of access. Those who tolerate everything convey that anything goes, and whoever accepts anything gets the bare minimum. An appearance of virtue, in this case, becomes disguised weakness. The end justifies the means when the means are self-preservation. Ignoring this keeps people trapped in humiliating cycles. He then names the fate of these people. They become emotionally immobile. They're always there, comfortable, useful, predictable. They're like the sofa, nobody notices until it's gone, and even then it's easy to replace. The mistake isn't in being good, it's about being predictably good. Your own loyal armies are not built through constant pampering. They are built according to criteria. Those who never remove access, never create an impact. Constant adaptability requires knowing when to change posture. Machiavelli understood that power is born not from affection, but from necessity. When your presence doesn't influence decisions, you're merely decorative, and the decor is changed as the environment changes. This is the brutal reality that few face. But those who confront it begin to see something different about power. And that's precisely where Machiavelli's insight becomes unavoidable. He then brings up the insight that has endured for centuries without losing its validity. It is safer to be feared than loved. Not because fear is noble, but because it is stable. Love depends on mood, context, and convenience. Fear depends on consequence. Machiavelli observed that people abandon what they love when it is comfortable to do so. But they think twice before losing something they respect. Politics, guided by reality, not by ideals, requires accepting this without drama. Being feared doesn't mean being hated. Avoiding being hated is part of the strategy. An appearance of virtue keeps doors open, but clear boundaries maintain the position. Those who confuse kindness with power lose both. Virtue and fortune favor those who understand this difference. The calculated use of force begins with posture, not confrontation. Posture communicates more than words. He explains that people don't follow what is true, they follow what seems powerful. This is an uncomfortable but liberating truth. Good ideas don't win on their own. Ideas supported by perceived authority prevail. Decisions based on real human nature show that perception shapes behavior. That is why Machiavelli insisted so much on appearance. An appearance of virtue, when used well, creates trust. But the appearance of weakness leads to exploitation. Those who over-justify themselves seem guilty. Those who explain too much seem insecure. Speak less, act more, always observe. This is the language of silent power. Self-made and loyal armies follow those who convey stability, not those who beg for understanding, not those who need to be validated all the time. He then reveals the simple equation that almost no one learns. Power is making your absence a problem. When you leave the room and everything remains the same, your presence was never decisive. Machiavelli understood that value arises from the impact generated, not from the visible effort, not out of good intentions, but regarding the consequence of the withdrawal. The end justifies the means when the means serve to create real relevance. Those who never withdraw never measure their own worth. Constant adaptability means knowing when to show up and when to disappear. Rare appearances attract attention. Constant presence creates noise. When your absence causes discomfort, something has changed. And when it generates silent chaos, the game has changed. That's where a dark, simple, and dangerous technique comes in. A technique based on scarcity. He begins by dismantling the biggest lie taught to ordinary people. That value comes from giving more. Give it more time, pay more attention, give more energy. In practice, this only accelerates the replacement. Machiavelli already warned that politics guided by reality, not by ideals, requires observing raw human behavior. And human behavior is simple. What comes easy loses weight. Revealing everything at once eliminates curiosity. Virtue and fortune favor those who use them sparingly, not those who lavish them. The end justifies the means when the means are consciously chosen through scarcity. Being always accessible is like leaving your door open in a lawless city. It doesn't generate gratitude, it generates invasion. The calculated use of force begins with knowing when not to use it. Giving less doesn't mean being cold, it's about being strategic. He explains that humans overvalue what they cannot fully possess. It's psychological, not moral. The brain responds to unpredictability with focus. That's why variable rewards are more addictive than predictable ones. Decisions based on genuine human nature are evident in relationships, work, and status. Those who always respond lose value. Responding only when you want to creates expectations. Controlled access generates silent respect. Unpredictable rewards keep attention alive. Machiavelli understood this centuries before neuroscience. It is better to be feared than loved, because love becomes complacent. Respect never relaxes. Avoiding being hated keeps the game clean, but never becoming predictable keeps the game alive. This is the delicate balance that few master. He then proposes a simple but uncomfortable exercise. Treat your attention as a luxury item, not as a public service. Reply to messages when it makes sense, not out of anxiety. Accept invitations only when you are genuinely interested, not out of fear. End energy-draining conversations without lengthy explanations. Organized and loyal armies respect those who respect their own time. The appearance of virtue here is calmness, not urgency. Constant adaptability requires adjusting delivery according to the environment's response. When someone senses they might lose you, their behavior changes, not through blackmail, by instinct. Machiavelli would call this a correct reading of the game. The less you give, the more they observe. The less you speak, the more they listen. But this only works when there is real value behind it. He makes it clear that scarcity without real value becomes merely empty absence. For it to work, the removal needs to hurt. It only hurts when you're carrying something that isn't easily replaceable. Machiavelli understood that power never arises from generic effort. It arises from a specific purpose. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, requires carefully choosing where to invest energy. Common skills do not create dependency. They create competition. Therefore, those who want leverage need to think outside the box. To master something technical, strategic, or relational that few others possess, being good isn't enough. It needs to be necessary. Virtue and fortune favor those who position themselves in narrow spaces, land where few enter and few leave. That's where the value begins to solidify. He suggests thinking about processes, not just talent. Processes create silent dependencies. Whoever masters a system becomes a positive bottleneck. At work, for example, don't just be an executor. Understand the entire workflow. Learn how decisions are made, not just how tasks are done. Decisions based on real human nature show that those who solve invisible problems gain ground. In the real world, knowing how to connect with the right people is worth more than being someone who speaks eloquently. Your own loyal armies emerge when you become a bridge, not a loose piece. Machiavelli valued those who understood what went on behind the scenes. Whoever knows the map controls the route. The end justifies the means when the means are strategic efficiency. The more specific the problem you solve, the less comparable you become. Comparison kills value, uniqueness creates leverage, and leverage changes the game. He then points out the most overlooked aspect, becoming essential on a narrow and lethal path, not being everything to everyone. Being critical is for the few. This choice requires courage. It requires saying no to many mediocre opportunities, but constant adaptability is not the same as dispersion. It's fine-tuning the focus. Machiavelli knew that whoever tries to please everyone loses everyone. It is better to be feared than loved when it preserves one's position. Avoiding being hated helps maintain functional alliances, but being essential guarantees strategic survival. When you're the only one who can solve a problem, your absence feels heavy. When your exit stalls processes, you gain time and power, and silent power is born from this functional dependence. But all of this requires something even rarer, cold emotional control. He explains that nothing destroys value faster than needing the approval of others. The need to be validated seeps through every pore. It's in the tone of voice, in the rush to respond, in an attempt to over-explain. Machiavelli observed that those who need to be accepted lose bargaining power. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, requires emotional autonomy. Feeling isn't the problem. Reacting without a filter is. Virtue and fortune favor those who master their own impulses. When you don't need the other person's yes, you negotiate on equal terms. When you don't need the answer, you control the time. It's better to be feared than loved when it eliminates emotional dependence. Avoiding being hated keeps the game clean. But never needing approval completely changes the dynamic. He makes it clear that emotional control is not empty coldness. It's precision. Do not chase, do not argue to be understood, do not beg for attention. Those who over-explain themselves are trying to salvage their image. Those who act in silence preserve their position. Decisions based on real human nature show that emotional debates rarely change hierarchies. They change their behavior when there are consequences. The calculated use of force emerges in the absence of strategy. When someone crosses a line, you don't confront them. You are revoking access, no drama, no long speech needed. The appearance of virtue here is unwavering calm. Machiavelli knew that well-used silence is worth more than 100 arguments, and whoever learns this becomes difficult to manipulate. He emphasizes that feeling deeply is not incompatible with responding slowly. On the contrary, responding slowly is a sign of inner control. It is the opposite of childhood impulsiveness. Constant adaptability requires this interval between stimulus and response. That's where the strategic choice begins. Organized and loyal armies respect those who do not react in the heat of the moment. They respect those who act when the dust settles. When you set limits on actions, the message is clear. There is no emotional negotiation. There is a standard access pattern. Machiavelli would understand this as internal sovereignty, and sovereignty changes the way the world reads you. But internal control alone does not create social power. It needs to generate something denser: gravity. He explains that the most common mistake is living in a world orbiting other people, environments, and decisions. Those who orbit react. Those who react never lead. Machiavelli already observed that power arises when others begin to adapt to you. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, requires reversing this dynamic. Stop chasing attention and start generating silent attraction. When you stop orbiting, something strange happens. People feel the emptiness, and the void calls. Virtue and fortune favor those who occupy the center of their own axis. It's not about being extroverted. It's about being stable. Stability creates a benchmark. Reference creates gravity, and gravity reorganizes the surrounding environment. He shows that speaking less increases the weight of each word. Those who talk too much try to assert themselves. Those who speak little choose when to intervene. Decisions based on real human nature show that silence generates expectation, and expectation generates attention. Machiavelli understood that leaders don't explain everything, they signal. When you speak only when necessary, people listen more carefully, not because you shout. But why don't you waste your voice? The appearance of virtue here is sobriety, nothing exaggerated, not anxious at all. The calculated use of force appears at the precise moment of speaking, and whoever masters the timing controls the impact. He then points to the crucial step, becoming the anchor people turn to in serious moments. Not for empty talk, but for difficult decisions. This isn't built by pleasing others. It is built by being consistent. Organized and loyal armies trust those who maintain composure under pressure. Constant adaptability doesn't mean changing your mind all the time. It's about adjusting strategy without losing identity. When you allow people to qualify for deeper access, something changes. Not everyone gets in, not everyone stays, and that increases value. Machiavelli would call this a natural hierarchy, where access is a prize, not a right. But every hierarchy can only be sustained when there is a cost to breaking it. He begins by stating something simple and unpopular. People don't learn from speeches, they learn through consequences. Machiavelli already observed that words shape intentions, but actions shape behavior. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, requires accepting this without guilt. Explaining boundaries rarely works. Applying them always works. When someone crosses a line and nothing happens, the line ceases to exist. Decisions based on real human nature show that permissiveness teaches abuse. The calculated use of force lies not in the confrontation itself, but in the subsequent effect. It's not about punishing out of anger, it's about rebalancing the relationship. Virtue and fortune favor those who act with strategic coolness. It is better to be feared than loved when that preserves respect. Avoiding being hated helps maintain bridges, but never removing consequences destroys authority. He explains that respect should be rewarded with more access, closer proximity, more openness, more time. This creates a clear positive association. Those who act correctly gain ground. Those who don't act lose. Simple, organized and loyal armies quickly understand this code. Machiavelli advocated visible rewards and silent punishments. The appearance of virtue here is predictable justice. When the other person understands what they gain by showing respect, they adjust their behavior. Constant adaptability requires observing who responds well to limits. Not everyone deserves the same level of access. Treating everyone equally destroys functional hierarchy. He then addresses the most overlooked point, the true cost of losing you. If your departure doesn't change anything, then there was no loss. For there to be a cost, its presence needs to generate measurable value. When someone disrespects you and you walk away, the impact needs to be felt, not explained. Sense. Machiavelli would understand this as a pedagogy of power. The end justifies the means when the means is to teach through effect. A cold and controlled reduction of access hurts more than discussion. Strategic silence weighs more than outrage. Virtù and fortuna come into play when absence reorganizes the environment. Those who learn quickly adapt. Those who don't learn fall away. And both outcomes make you stronger. But this stance requires an even stronger identity. He explains that all real transformation begins with a symbolic burial. The version that chases, begs, and adapts too much needs to die. Not out of hatred, but out of lucidity. Machiavelli understood that weak identities lead to weak decisions. Politics guided by reality, not by ideals, requires cutting behaviors that drain value. Those who chase after things communicate an inner sense of scarcity. Those who beg for space have already lost their position. Virtue and fortune favor those who redefine their own standards. The new identity doesn't react. It chooses. It's not justified, he observes. Don't beg, be selective. The end justifies the means, when the means are strategic self-preservation. It is better to be feared than loved if that protects your sovereignty. Avoiding being hated keeps the field clean, but never chasing again changes everything. He proposes a simple yet powerful internal configuration. I don't pursue what doesn't choose me. This phrase can change decisions, both small and large. Change sent messages, invitations accepted, discussions have begun. Decisions based on real human nature show that those who choose convey value. Those who wait to be chosen transmit dependency. The appearance of virtue here is a firm tranquility, nothing theatrical, nothing aggressive. Organized and loyal armies respect those who maintain standards, even under pressure. Constant adaptability does not mean abandoning criteria. It's about adjusting course without compromising identity. When you stop giving up on yourself, the world stops testing you. And when you test it, you encounter silent resistance. He then uses a simple metaphor. Treat the mind as a fortress, not as an open field. Not every opinion gets in. Not every emotion is decisive. Not everyone goes through the gate. Machiavelli would see this as efficient internal governance. The calculated use of force begins within. When you protect your mind, you protect your decisions. When you protect your decisions, you protect your future. Virtue and fortune align when there is internal coherence. Becoming untouchable is not about isolating yourself. It's about taking a stand. It's about making it clear without words that its value is non-negotiable. Those who understand, stay. Those who don't understand stay away. And this sets the stage for the final oath. He explains that everything points to a silent decision made away from applause, an inner vow that no one hears, but everyone feels afterward. Deciding that your presence isn't cheap changes micro-behaviors. It changes the way you enter rooms, replying to messages, to accept invitations. Machiavelli would call this an alignment between virtù and fortuna. Politics guided by reality, not ideals, requires accepting the cost of being selective. Those who try to please everyone pay the price of invisibility. Those who choose this path pay the price with temporary loneliness. But this solitude builds position. Decisions based on real human nature show that people respect those who respect themselves. The appearance of virtue here is a firm sobriety. No promises, no explanations needed. He makes it clear that people will pay the price for losing you in a curious way, not with confrontations, but with a silent distance. Invitations are dwindling, orders cease, demand disappears, and that's a good sign. Machiavelli would understand this as a strategic clearing of the countryside. True and loyal armies emerge when opportunists disappear. The end justifies the means when the means is relational clarity. It's better to be feared than loved when it prevents emotional intrusions. Avoiding being hated keeps your reputation intact, but becoming too expensive to lose redefines the game. Those who stay, stay because of their worth, not for convenience. He then concludes with the final, simple, and irrefutable identity, not as a statement made aloud, but as a consistent stance. I am irreplaceable, not out of ego, but by construction. Constant adaptability is not about giving in, it's about evolving without becoming diluted. When your absence costs more than your presence, the system adjusts to you. Machiavelli would call this full sovereignty. You don't chase, don't beg. It doesn't negotiate what's essential. Your mind is a fortress. Your time is a luxury, and those who access it know the price. Now the question is no longer theoretical and becomes personal. What exactly needs to change in your life for your absence to start having an impact? In which relationships do you still give away too much access, explain too much, accept too much? Where do you still confuse presence with value? This knowledge only becomes power when it becomes daily behavior, when you stop reacting automatically, start choosing coldly, and treat your time, attention, and energy as rare assets. It's not about becoming arrogant, it's about stopping abandoning yourself. Think honestly, if you were to step away today, who would truly miss you? Who would have to reorganize their lives? Who would lose something concrete? If the answer is almost no one, that's not a reason to feel guilty. It's a call for rebuilding. From now on, every yes needs to have a cost. Every access needs to be earned. Every limit needs to be enforced with action, not just words. That's how you stop being tested. That's how you stop being controlled. And now I want to hear from you. What was the point in this video that bothered you the most? The one that hit you hard because you know it's true? What will you stop doing from today onwards to become someone too valuable to lose? Write in the comments. If this content opened your eyes, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Here, you learn to play the game as it really is, without illusions, without romanticizing, without asking permission.